It's Mark Tapp, Creative Finance Academy, and we are excited today. We got Julie Muse that's joining us. I've been promoting this over our site here just for the last few days. Julie has been doing this for 5 years or so. She's, 20 years old now is what I think.
I'm 20, but I've been in real estate for about 12 years now.
I'm teasing right here, but Julie's been so gracious to come on board. She has put together millions and millions of dollars of transactions, helps fund transactions. She's an expert in so many different areas. And what we decided to do today is just to make this fun. Instead of having any kind of agenda, we're just going to kind of open it up. I want Julie to share with you guys, some of the things that are going on in her business. The market shifted and changed so dramatically. It's just not like the old days where you could just let's have a coach and let's talk about subtitles or something like that. Let's talk about what's real and what's really going on. Does that sound good?
Oh, it definitely sounds good to me.
All right. So Julie, tell us a little bit. Give us some background. Okay. I didn't do you justice here, but give us a little background. Tell us a little bit about you and what you've been doing and where you're going.
Well, sounds good. So I'm not going to go completely to my backstory about how I got into real estate, but I'll tell you, real estate for me was my path to financial freedom. I know people hear that a lot, but I really picked this up and just have fell in love with the real estate. I own a company called Partner Driven, a software called Deal Driven. Obviously other LLCs with properties in there. I've closed around 1,700 real estate transactions all across the United States over the last 12 years. Anything from wholesale deals, fix and flips, subject to, sandwich lease options, owner finance. I really like to stay in the residential real estate space. I have no expertise in commercial. And I really don't want to. I'll tell you, Mark, what's so funny is I love dealing with single family homes. I know people always say, okay, well, you start there and then you become good at that. Then you move up to commercial. I don't want to. And I'll tell you the reason why. I enjoy the relationship side of this business so much. And I don't want to go and deal with a bunch of stiffs in a boardroom about commercial properties. I know people love that, but I love the relationship part of this business, Mark.
Yeah, one of the things I think on the single family side is you feel like and I know you're helping families out individually. Sometimes I think when you get in the corporate side, and people get enamored with the big dollars and the money, but it is pretty corporate. And when you're working in the single family, and particularly like with what I've seen, like now, the way the market is, there's so many people out there hurting right now, and you can make such a big difference. I saw somebody on Facebook, if I mentioned his name, you'd know who he was. Okay. So I'm not going to do that, but he was talking, he kind of lost his way right now, even though he's been making money for years and years and years at this. And he was like, I posted back to him. I'm like, I think the way you find your way back is just get back into servanthood, and just start serving people, because that's really, I think, who we're created to be. And I think when you're dealing with single family homes, you really, that's what you're doing, is you're serving people.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I look at it like this. I don't say that I solve people problems. I solve house problems.
Okay.
A lot of people, in this industry will say, let me help you. Whenever you take the onus and put the onus on the house, it helps sellers deal with the pain of what they're going through right now, right? And it's like you and I against the big banks, you and I against the house problems. And that's truly the goal. I know we might be talking to a lot of people that are new in this business, Mark. And I'm going to ask you this question, and in a couple of answers, I want to see what you say, because I want you guys to ask yourselves this when you're listening. What do you think makes a good real estate investor? In a couple sentences, what would you say?
What makes a good real estate investor? In two sentences. Well, first of all, let me just tell you, for me, I don't even call myself a real estate investor. I call myself a finance guy that just happens to be in real estate because I like that real estate is collateralizes and it collateralizes the finance. Okay, so you're talking to me direct. That's what I would say is but it's really just somebody that likes to solve problems, and gets a real joy and kick out of that. There's nothing more. I wake up 2, 3 in the morning just wanting to solve the next problem, and it's like putting a puzzle piece together. My wife likes to watch murder mysteries, and the reason why she likes to do that, she likes to solve the problem. And so I think this is more than 2 sentences, Julie.
I set you up to fail, Mark.
Yeah, it's a problem solver. Somebody that really likes to solve problems. And really, I think also, to me, I think you gotta, I will, and if you love people and love solving problems, I think that's really what makes it work. So,
and you gave the best answer ever. A lot of times when I ask this question, people will say, well, I'm good at raising money, or I'm good at construction, or I'm good at doing this, or I'm good at doing that. Those are skills that you need to be a real estate investor. But in the very beginning, and as you go along, if you don't have like that servant mentality, like you're talking about, wanting to help people with their house problems, if you're not a people person, this could be kind of difficult business for you. Because you will, if your only goal, Mark, is to get started in real estate investing, and my only goal is to make money.
Mm-hmm.
You might do a few deals, but you will not last in this business. So it's having like that, you were getting up at 3:00 in the morning, right? And you're like, you know what solution can I solve today? Because you have a love for people. And that's awesome. And with the way that the market's going right now, if you want to capitalize on a market like this and make it a win-win for both the sellers and yourself, meaning you can make money while helping others through their house problems, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if you're listening to this right now and you don't take heed with what Mark and I are about to say, you're going to look back 5 years from now and say, I wished I woulda, coulda. Because you're about to see where millionaires are made. So I prefaced it that in helping people and helping you and your family, but it's really the perfect storm. Not a storm that I'm excited about, because I'd never want the American people to suffer. But the numbers are out there, Mark. They're just out there. There's so much opportunity that we've got to be on it. But there's also an opportunity for a lot of people that if they don't change their mindsets, they're going to lose a lot of money right now too.
One of the things that I've seen is I've had a lot of investors tell me, I'm just going to pull back right now because things are kind of rough. It was easy. Particularly folks that were doing fix and flipping. And I've had this conversation a lot actually here lately, where they're like, man, Mark, I couldn't do anything wrong. For the last 4 or 5 years, everything I touched was golden. And it just, I was making 50, 60, 70, 80, $100,000. We were just putting money in the bank. And then all of a sudden, things blew up. I don't know what to do. And they're like, I think I just need to step back for a couple of years. And so I know what I've been telling them, but what would you say to that person?
I would say that it's important that you know other real estate strategies. Because for the last 4 or 5 years, I love fix and flips and wholesale deals. I almost maybe even like them better than creative financing. That's what I cut my teeth on. But if you're using that as your only strategy, you are not going to stay afloat right now. You're just not. You're not going to stay afloat in 2023 because the writing's on the wall. Obviously, the interest rates are going up. They're coming back down a little bit. But here's my kind of opinion on real estate in an easy way of putting it. So everybody understands COVID was here, right? An inevitable action. Well, during COVID, there was things that happened, like with the government. They came in and said, let's issue these moratoriums. Let's do things with the banks to where people don't have to make these payments. They could put them on the back end of the loan. We can charge extra fees every month. right?
Right.
So although that was good for a minute, inevitably in the long run, it's not necessarily the greatest thing that ever happened to sellers. Because now, at the beginning of the year, we were at what, 3-4 million people in pre-foreclosure in March. We're sitting at about 12 million right now.
Wow.
Are you guys hearing this?
That's a pretty big problem. And
it's a huge problem. It's a huge problem because now when they started paying these payments, they can't afford them. Now there's no equity left in their home. And we just perpetuated the problem by extending it out. And unfortunately, like when I call it a perfect storm, like if anybody's ever seen that movie, there weren't good things that happen in a perfect storm.
so you got a market right now where it's 12 million people that are suffering just in pre-foreclosure. And then you've got a lot of real estate investors like, oh my God, I need to pull out right now. Just wait. And so now you got a smaller amount of investors out there trying to help a greater amount of people. So I would say probably right now this is the time. That's what I try to tell folks this is the time for you to get involved because there's more people need help than ever. And having that abundance mentality there's no way that Julie Muse can actually take care of all those 12 million people out there. There's no way.
No. And you know what? Fix and flips aren't dead either.
Right.
The problem is that it's market driven. Like when your buddies you were talking to and they were like 8 months ago, man, I can't do anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It was like that everywhere. Now it's segmented by markets. Some markets you can still fix and flip a house and the days on market are still only a couple of weeks. Or you get a town like Tampa, Florida, where it's actually kind of tanked. I lost 40 grand on a fix and flip.
Well, you and I talk about that. I was telling you about the seller finance program I got, going on right now. We can help you with that.
I took the loss, man. But I'm telling you, because it's like, but you can't, and this is a different mentality. You can't win 100% of the time in real estate. You haven't done any deals in real estate if you haven't lost money on a few. And there's just some things you can't help, right? Like Tampa, it like went in like a month.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like that when I bought the house by the time the renovation was done, but I mean, think about all the deals I did do before that. So you always got to look at it. You got to take the good with the bad. Now, do I learn and grow from that? Or do you sit here now and say, well, geez, I'm too afraid to do fix and flips. I'm too afraid to do this. No, you just got to change your strategies and you got to be careful with what you're doing. You've got to know your markets more now. You've got to understand days on market. You've got to understand at what price point people are buying. That's huge.
What I've been telling people is now you really need to have and you should have been doing this before, but not everybody was doing it. But you need to enter the deal with the exit strategy in play. Mm-hmm. Okay. Absolutely. And you need to have the end in mind. And I think that people got so spoiled over the last few years is they didn't really need to have the end in mind. They're just like, I'll just get in and I'll make some money. It's not that big a deal. But now when you get into it is you need to know, okay, what's my exit strategy out of this? And you might ought to have more than one. First of all, I think in the fix and flips, you probably shouldn't be using the 70% rule anymore. It probably needs to be 60%. But as you're doing an exit strategy right now, it may be difficult to try to burr that property right now because interest rates, on these DSCR loans are going up to 8.5%, 9.5%. So it's almost impossible to do that and actually make any money at all. So what do? So you might be able to sell it with an agent. Days on market, that's kind of tough as well. Better understand seller finance, better understand lease purchasing, because if you've got all those different tools in your belt, you've got a real estate agent, you got lease purchasing, you got seller finance. If you've got all these different tools in your belt, then now you've got something to work with. And so always have the end in mind. And that's just wisdom. And folks didn't have to do that before. And today, I tell folks on our lending side, we work as a consultative lender, and you don't get too much of that out there. Most people are just trying to, just put points and fees and try to charge you more and more and more. But what we really emphasize is that consultative piece. Know the end before you go into the deal, because if you don't have a good exit strategy, you probably shouldn't get into the deal.
Yeah, exactly. And too, to kind of get into that. So this is I guess my State of the Union address on this thing. We're talking about the back. You're talking about knowing your exit strategy, and you're 1,000% true. Like, in my opinion, you're 1,000% true. But if you're a real estate investor and you're sitting here right now, you really need to start cutting your teeth and understanding creative financing. Now, there are ways for you to enter a creative financing deal with no money down. A lot of people only look at wholesaling as I can enter it with no money down. You could do a subject to with no money down. I'm doing one in California right now. You can do a sandwich lease option with no money down. You could do an owner finance deal with no money down. The thing is that when you're learning about these creative financing, most everybody's going to tell you go to the agents. Go talk to all your agents. Those things are great, Mark. I mean, 100% build relationship with agents. See how you can help them out. I don't think the best deals are there. I really don't.
Okay.
I also don't call FSBOs and I don't call expireds. Now, I do believe in doing that, but let me ask you a question. Why do you think someone sells their house for sell by owner?
Oh, but the agent fees are too high. They know they're going to lose some money, so they're in trouble. So they have no equity.
Yep. Why do you think a listing becomes expired?
Same problem. They have no equity, so they go and tell the agent that $300,000 home, I really need to list it at $350 because if I take it what the appraised value is on it, I'm going to lose money. So please, list it up here, and the agent can't do it. And right now, these agents are taking it and just putting whatever is on it. And I don't know about you, but I think there's a lot of agents out there who haven't made a paycheck now in 3-4 months or better.
Yeah, and when I look at those situations you told me, every one of those situations, the seller's motivated by price. They're listed at too high. It may not even be that they don't have equity. It's just that they're unrealistic in what they want for the property. Somebody that sells for sell by owner is motivated with price because they don't see the value in having a licensed real estate agent or broker market their property. So when a lot of us creative financing people, we all go after the same folks. Let's go after, to me, I call it the easy button, which is silly to me because I don't want to go after deals where the sellers are only care about their price. I want to go back and now look at this through a wholesaler's goggles. As a whole, let's say you're a wholesaler, Mark, or you're a fix and flipper. What type of deals are you looking for as a wholesaler?
No, cash offers, and as a wholesaler, you're trying to get right now 45, 50 cents on the dollar because you got to have enough margin because your investors are not wanting to pay more than 60 to 65 cents on the dollar. So you got to go buy a property at least at 50 cents on the dollar to walk away and make any money.
Yeah. So you'd say a wholesaler goes after motivated sellers, right?
Oh, and ugly houses. Need lots of repairs. And right now, there's a lot of those out there right now. But they're out there. But you're right; they're all fighting over the same property. So
you're right, but they all come in and say the same thing with a wholesaler. But what they're going after are motivated sellers.
Right.
Okay. So why, if I'm doing a creative deal, would I not go after someone that actually needs to sell right now? And let's talk about who those people are. There are motivations that happen in life that some of us cannot avoid.
Right.
Death. We all die. There's lots of people that are left with properties, and you think, oh man, I wish somebody'd leave me a property when they pass away. Sometimes it's not a good thing.
Right.
There's taxes, there's insurance. It maybe need work. It could legit be a thorn in my side, right? Divorce, job loss. Like not being able to pay my mortgage. What if I was able to use the cash strategy to close more creative financing deals? You have more motivation. You'll actually get deeper discounts. Because let's pretend you and I go to the same appointment, Mark. Right? And
no, we're going to go together.
We're going to go. We're competing. You're going to offer something, and I'm going to offer something. Okay. So you pretend you're a wholesaler right now. Which, by the way, guys, I have nothing against wholesaling. I absolutely love wholesaling, and I still do it to this day. Love it, love it, love it. So we're going to an appointment. The people owe $30,000 on this house. It needs work. Mm-hmm. It's worth $100,000 for ease sake. As a wholesaler, and that's the only thing you can do, you're going to walk in there and probably offer what?
Well, if you use the 70% rule, which I already said, I don't think that's even a good idea right now. You're looking at you go in and say $100,000 ARV, 70%, and then you take your 30,000 off of that. So, I mean, best case scenario, you're offering what, 40,000?
Yep.
Yeah.
So then right there,
but if you're a wholesaler, you actually have to get 50 cents in the dollar. So actually about 20,000.
Well, let's say though that you offered 40 and 40 is what they owe. Right. And they've been through all this stress and they're like, man, you know what? I can't take 40. What if I walk in and say, what are you looking for? I want you to pay me 70 grand on this house. If I could pay you 70 grand on this house, are you willing to work something out as far as terms go? See,
possibly. I got to see how that looks. Yeah, I got to see how that looks. What's that look like?
Well, you have an existing mortgage on the property, right? True. And I know you're having a hard time making these payments. What if I made the payments for you?
That would be very helpful. So, I mean, that's really what's actually causing me so much headache right now. I mean, I can't even pay my medical bills right now.
And what if I gave you a little bit of money for your medical bills, took over those payments for you, and that you could feel rest assured that your credit is going to stay in good standings because I am going to make those payments for you? How would that?
I got like $20,000 in medical bills. You're going to pay my medical bills?
Well, I mean, it all depends, right? I could give you a little bit of money in your pocket, but that
would help. That would help. But where am I going to live?
Well, you're not going to be able to live here.
Oh, okay.
Right. But if you lose your home, you're not going to be able to live here either.
Right.
And you're going to lose your credit. And you might be at a point where a sheriff's knocking at the door, pulling you out of this home along with the stuff in it.
I've already lost my credit. I can't lose any more than what I've already lost. So.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is that when you go at a motivated seller, Mark, with not just a cash offer, but creative terms, then you're able to solve more solutions. What I'm saying, Mark, is be you and me at the same time. Sometimes going in with that cash offer first, if you get that price, hooray, right? If the cash offer doesn't work, offer something else. Figure out what the solutions are. Like just right now, you don't know where you're going to live. You got your medical bills being paid. You're going to need money to move. Right? Every other person that's going to come offer you cash is not going to solve any of those problems.
No, in fact, you still got the realtor fee, maybe. I mean, all the closing costs. So
remember, I'm not buying this from a realtor.
If I owe 30 and you're only going to pay me 40, still have closing costs. What I really end up at the end of the day is zero, a big goose egg.
If not negative.
Right.
So I think the big play is doing what you're doing, like you're talking about calling with your agents. That is still a big play.
Mm-hmm.
The really big play is because you just seen all your wholesalers and fix and flippers quit. When those motivated sellers are doubling and tripling. As a creative financing person, I really feel like we should, and this is how I've been doing it because I like fix and flips and wholesales.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go solve people's problems where you don't have middlemen involved, where you don't have agents, you don't have this, you don't have that, because your competition just left you. You just told me that, Mark.
Yeah.
All my competition just left in that scenario. When you said, your buddy said, I think I'll just wait to do more real estate deals. That doesn't tell me to get out. That tells me, whew, I got an opportunity because everybody
That's
just left.
Clear the way.
Yeah. Clear the way because here we come. So if I could say anything to anybody right now that, and by the way, your creative program that you're putting together couldn't come at a better time, because all of the competition is leaving. They're going to be able to take your strategies, your tutelage, your expertise, and do something with it. There's so much opportunity, and there are ways to find these people, because I'd be wondering, well, how do you find these people, right?
No, I make a simple post, and all of a sudden they just come out of the woodworks right now. So it really is kind of funny. Not as funny as laughing, but kind of, it's like, wow, they're really, it's just not hard to get a lead right now. I mean, it's you can get free leads on Facebook like that, because there's a lot of hurting people out there that need some help, and it's not begging for business. It's just ask a simple question.
Mm-hmm.
Is anybody out there got a home right now that you got a little trouble with? I might be able to help. That's it. Don't say anything else.
I mean, you're right. Like, people think, oh, I've got to spend thousands and thousands of dollars a month to become a successful real estate investor. Mark just told you just now how to write one simple post and get some leads. I mean, it's
really that simple right now. You just need to let me. I saw somebody post a couple of times today, actually. Evidently somebody was copying a post and going over, and they were just like, just remember towards the end of the year right here that I help fix people's problems. And so if you actually have a house problem, come to me and let me see if I can't give you a solution, because that's what I do.
Yeah.
And that was it. They didn't say what they did, how they did it. They're just like, I just fix people's house problems.
Yeah. So Mark, like with what I said, I mean, are you seeing the idea of the perfect storm too, or do you
No,
disagree? I mean, a lot of us disagree, which is fine.
No, I think this is the perfect storm, and I've shared my story before. I'm a finance guy, and I never tell people I'm really in real estate. I tell people I'm in finance, and I like real estate because it secures the finance. It collateralizes the finance. But this is for people that think creatively and like to really solve a problem. It's opened the door wide open, and it's my little note flip deal that I'm putting together. We're just starting it just in Texas, and that's going to be big enough. And part of me is like, no, I want to offer this everywhere because we can help people in all 50 states. I don't know that we have the capacity to help people in all 50 states right now. So we got to start small, and Texas isn't small, but but you understand what I'm saying. It's just, there's so many problems out there right now. Probably I'd be smarter just staying and say, I'm just going to help San Antonio and that's it. But
I mean, and you could, as an investor, like too, is another thing, Mark, is like, some people think you've got to grow to this big stage to make all this money.
Mm-hmm.
When you grow nationwide, that means more employees, more things, more problems, more Sometimes you're better off staying put and just doing deals yourself. You make sometimes just as much money as if you build a big, humongous company.
And maybe get more sleep.
And more sleep. But I will tell you, I do run a company that does do deals nationwide.
So tell us about that. I know I told you we just kind of go off on a little bit, but I know you've got a coaching program, and you've been doing that for a while. Tell us a little bit about that, because I'm sure folks, you've heard Julie enough, and if you've gone this far with us in the recording, and you don't love Julie by now, something's wrong with you. And so, but she has a coaching program, and she takes people on to help them with a lot of the things that, these 1,700 houses that she's done. You get her expertise behind that. Would you share us a little bit just about what your program is? Is it open right now, or are you closed?
No, I ain't open. I'm open for business because I know what's about to take place. So let me tell you something unique about what we do. I'm looking for partners. I'm not looking for people that just want to learn. I'm looking for people that want to do. Because not only do I show you exactly how to find the deals, how to execute those deals, my company puts all the money up for the deals.
Wow. Okay.
And we split profits with you. So imagine learning, going to do a deal and not having to worry about the financing of the deal. Because I am truly an investor at heart. So with my partners, the more deals we do together, the more money I make. Right? So I want them to uberly succeed. And we're willing to put our money where our mouth is.
Can I ask you a question on the money? You say you guys partner. Is it this like, because we've talked about it, a lot of different strategies. I mean, is it EMD funding or is money deposit money? Tell us a little bit about when you say you provide the money, what does that mean? What does that?
So let's talk about we'll talk about the different ones on a fix and flip, right? You've got, earnest money deposit, right? You've got the funds to close the deal. You've got insurance money. You've got power bills. You've got water bills. You've got deposits. You've got lawn care. Our partners don't come out of a pocket 1 penny for a deal, and we split the profits 50-50.
Okay.
Plus, we show you how to find those deals.
Okay, awesome.
Now, on the creative financing side of the business, it's a little bit different. Because creative financing, when the back end is like a wrap, it's more of a long-term deal. There's no way I can do 50% because there's property management on the back end. There's a whole processing center on the back end. So I do 30% to the partner and creative financing deal.
Okay.
And that's partner-driven creative. So that I'm able to put the money up for the down payment if I need to put a down payment down. Right? But you got to understand, on a creative deal, guys, you're making money up front every month and at the end.
Right.
You're making 30% the whole way.
So cash now, cash flow, cash later.
Exactly. Without making those payments every month to the seller, without going and find the insurance company, close on the house, without worrying about paying the taxes, without making sure that the rent to own or lease to own people are taken care of. You're not marketing for those. So we have a whole entire back infrastructure for it, so that once you put the deal together, because don't let this sound too good to be true. The hardest thing in real estate is putting the deal together. I can't do it without you.
Right.
So,
yeah, but these are folks that actually are part of your program. It's just not somebody out of the blue that calls up.
I can't. If you can imagine running a company this size, it takes lots of employees to put all this together. We provide the leads too. So every month you can pull 1,000 motivated seller leads, and we'll give you 1,000 skip traces a month too. Plus 4 days of live daily training and an open coaching room for 4 hours a day. So if you have a question, you hop on to my coach's room and you get your questions answered immediately. Because I partner on deals, I can't wait to answer your questions, because you might be going tonight to an appointment.
Well, since we're pre-recording this, if you'll let us know right here in this space, how they would actually find you for that coaching program, and maybe you've got a landing page that they could go and maybe watch something. If you'll just tell us what that is right now, then I will make sure that I actually stream it right here in the bottom line. And so folks will know how to get to you. Is that so? How would they get to you about your coaching program?
So number one, it's www.partnerdriven.com.
Okay.
Partnerdriven.com. It's a full website. You've got YouTube videos on there. You've got testimonials on there. You can also schedule a call with one of my members at calljuliemuse.com. Calljuliemuse.com. So if you'd like to ask more questions about that, you can actually schedule a call with one of my members.
Okay.
And we'll let you know, if it's right for you, because it's a partnership. It's got to be right for both of us.
Right.
Because Mark, I think, like with you, as you're working with people, don't let people tell you this business is easy. If you're listening to this business takes a lot of work, time, and effort, but the rewards are great for that time and effort, right? I could be a manager at McDonald's and work my rear end off, you can work your rear end off doing this, but make a lot more money. It's kind of what I mean, Mark.
Right. And you had some help when you got started.
Oh, if I didn't have a mentor when I got started, I wouldn't be where I am today. I mean, a lot of people's first thing they might say, Mark, is like when they're looking to talk to you, do you know how you learn from mistakes, learn from paying mentors, learn from doing it yourself?
Right.
None of that is free. My first mentor is my business partner.
Awesome. So you mentioned that a lot of these are on YouTube. So you have a YouTube channel too and folks are like, okay, I want to hear a little bit more of Julie right now. Is there a YouTube channel that they could actually go to as well?
Absolutely. You can go to Julie Muse on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, wherever, where we give, free advice and things. But, you could follow me there and answer any questions. So I'm really excited about that. But Mark, I guess if I could tell anybody anything, don't wish you coulda, woulda. Like, don't sit back and listen to webinars, to podcasts, and think about doing something. You've got to put one foot in front of the other, because I think the sentiment of today with Mark and I is it's time to take action. We're seeing people get out when they should be digging in harder, right? And I love that you're putting your creative together, even with the loans of creative. That's super, super important, especially in the state of Texas. There are rules around the state of Texas. Not every strategy can be done in Texas. So thank goodness somebody knows that, like Mark, up front, you might get yourself in trouble.
So what she's saying, okay, even though I told you to go watch her YouTube channel, spend the next hour doing that, but then after you're done with that, get on and actually click in and set up your call and talk to somebody in your team, because it's not going to do you any good to sit around and watch the next 10 hours worth of YouTube channels. That's fine. You can do that late night because maybe her team members don't talk to you at 2 and 3 in the morning. But you really got to actually activate right now, and that's really what I'm hearing from this. And if you guys really are wanting to change something in your life, is you've got to make changes, going forward for yourself. And so if you're still just watching these videos and not actually participating in the process, this is the time to jump in. You've got less competition than ever, but there's more opportunity than we've ever seen, and probably in the last since 2008, right, when things kind of blew up back then, and maybe even I think it's even greater now than even 2008. So
it's just people are a little bit smarter now because they messed up back then.
Right.
I mean, there's people that lost a lot of money back then, and they're waiting for that same opportunity again.
Well, anything else? You've been so gracious with your time right now. Anything else that you might want to add to the group here before we go? And
I guess in anything in real estate investing, and I keep saying this, so I sound like a broken record, right? You can learn this business, but the only true way to learn this business is to go do it. And there's only one thing in this business that makes money, and that's making offers. If you're spending your time doing other things in the beginning, in my opinion, you're wasting your time. You should always do things that make you money first. So I guess I say, let's just get out there and do it, man.
All right. So listen, you guys, do me a huge favor. Go in and make sure that you do go to her YouTube channel and become a member of that. And find her on Facebook and like her there as well. But do yourself a favor and reach out to her team. And at least how much does that phone call cost for them to reach out to a team member and talk to one of your team members?
Nothing.
Oh, well then.
I'm interviewing for partners to do deals with, man. I'm not charging.
So what are you waiting on? So you can actually do that right now. They don't even need to go spend time watching a YouTube channel. What are you waiting on? Go ahead and schedule a call with Julie. I'll put up the information again here towards the end. Julie, I just can't thank you enough. Thank you so much for spending some time with me and the group here today. And I probably am not going to see you again before even Christmas. So you have a really blessed holiday season right now too.
You too, Mark. And thank you for inviting me. Thank you for trusting in me with your group. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see what we do together next year.